Okay, so another question I have for Katie is, this is your second baby, first one, Emma.
Yes, yes.
Gorgeous.
Thank
Gorgeous.
you.
Is 3?
Yes, she's 3.
Yeah. So, have you seen any differences from your first pregnancy to your second pregnancy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And specifically around ADHD management of symptoms, because with my first pregnancy, I didn't have another child. And that really helped, because you
Yep.
get to rest, you don't have as many obligations, your executive functioning isn't just like someone's not constantly needing something all the time and all sorts of things. So I think my first pregnancy was easier in terms of management of my ADHD symptoms and ability to rest and enjoy the pregnancy a little bit more. Second pregnancy, for whatever reason, I was sicker throughout the whole pregnancy as well. But also just having a toddler, you just don't get downtime. You don't get that time to reset. There's always a million things you still have to be doing and juggling, and it's just really difficult. So there have been times where I've been like, should I get back on my medicine? I don't know.
I don't think anybody can blame you at that point either.
Right, I know. So I think that's the biggest difference, is just being pregnant with a toddler is just really hard.
Yeah, a little more strain on the executive functions.
Yes, very much so.
And I'm sure emotional regulation and all
and
that.
Overstimulation is a huge one too. So yeah, that was the main difference for me, is being more sick and not having time to kind of reset.
Yeah. Right. Kind of re-energize and kind of put fuel back in the tank, especially with the executive functions and whatnot.
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
And I also noticed, this is another thought I just had, but that I needed to access more support than I did in the first pregnancy, whether that be making sure I'm going to therapy and coaching and, making sure I'm also delegating to my husband more, things like that to help kind of fill those gaps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, those resources are so important. I know sometimes people don't take as much advantage or haven't identified them maybe beforehand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about maybe even, I don't know, difference in, if you can remember back to Emma, or just even more importantly now with your current pregnancy. What about, you see much difference between first trimester to second trimester when it comes to your ADHD and symptoms?
Yeah, for me, I think because I was sick for the first 18 weeks, it was really difficult for me during that period, and it got a little bit better after 18 weeks in terms of energy level and things like that. But the reason I also bring that up is a lot of people who don't have a lot of sickness during the first trimester, you do get a surge of estrogen, and that can oftentimes help ADHD symptoms.
I read this.
Yeah. And because it plays on dopamine, right? And so and it fluctuates throughout the pregnancy. So it's not just the first trimester that people do have benefits from it. But I think just because I was so sick that I wasn't able to feel that as much.
Right, didn't kind of balance it out.
Yeah. And so for me, I feel second trimester I had a little bit more energy, and I felt better, which then helped with my symptoms too. But
that's interesting. That's so. And I remember when I did a little bit of research before you agreed to do this.
Yeah.
And I was reading, and I was like, oh, well, a lot of ADHD symptoms could just kind of go away while someone's pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I was like, I have to ask.
That didn't happen with me. I mean, it does happen apparently, but not even with Emma when I was, and I wasn't very sick with her at all. I didn't get it wasn't my symptoms went away.
Right.
And it's actually kind of hard to remember if they got better or not during the first trimester back then. But I have heard that happens.
Yeah.
People have, I guess, because of that, play on dopamine and just kind of helps. I don't know.
Yeah. So mind-boggling.
I know.